As the sun rises on Ha Long, the iconic Vietnam UNESCO World Heritage Site and its fantastic seascape, we get to meet a few locals, go to their houses, see tofu being made, rice wine being distilled. We observe the city from the top floor of the hotel after lunch, visit a temple and a pagoda, and visit a cultured pearl factory, and of course there's the obligatory shop. Today we're in Ha Long Bay in North Vietnam, and we came in about 5 o'clock in the morning. It was absolutely pitch black when we started coming on into the bay, and then very slowly the sun rose and we could see glorious rocks, grass, absolutely gorgeous.
Looked a bit like the film The Beach, didn't it?
Yeah, or...
Yeah, that kind of thing. It was lovely.
The scene from 007.
Yeah.
I can't remember which movie. Was it the Man with the Golden Gun, I think
was
it was. I think it might have been Man with the Golden Gun.
Leave comments below, if you know.
But it's a lovely site, and we moored up, the sun rose, it was absolutely brilliant to experience. We obviously had breakfast, but we were doing an excursion.
Yeah.
And
do excuse the no makeup. I'm so tired. I could just fall asleep right now. So I don't care.
Well, it was supposedly a 6.5 hour excursion.
It was more like 8 actually. That's how
it was more like 8, but
yeah.
You could say we got our money's worth. But let's talk about what we did. So we went out to a little village and had a look round a tofu making.
Yes, well, it was really like one of the villagers' houses, and they were making tofu. I think they sell it, do they?
Yeah.
Which I don't hate tofu anyway. And you didn't try it either, did you?
I didn't try it, but
no, lots of people were. But I hate tofu.
But
give me the meat.
But basically, they effectively mash up the beans,
soya
with
beans,
some water, using a stone. In the past that would have been done by hand, but now they had electricity and a motor and a bit of rubber that actually ground it for them. It would then be strained and eventually then compacted and shaped into tofu bars. It was interesting to go into what was, as Joanne says, a small house, which was...
I mean, it was their house, and they just made it at the back.
Which was a going industry, going concern. And this morning we had ample time to grab ourselves breakfast at Lumine before getting onto the coach for our highlights of the city tour. Neither of us have been to Vietnam before, and for us it's intriguing to look out as you drive along and see the changing scapes as you progress on your journey, and they did change quite considerably, as you can see. Some parts were fairly modern, some parts reasonably industrial, and some parts looked fairly local. It was actually fascinating to see all of the different styles and the different environments as we went through. And the other thing that became immediately noticeable is Vietnam's fascination with the motorcycle. Apparently 1 in 2 people has a motorcycle, and every motorcycle has a horn, and it would appear that every motorcyclist uses their horn. Apparently this is a small village that specialises in making tofu.
Do you know this is a soybean?
So there we were, crammed into this shed at the back of the house, and the whole process for making tofu looked extremely straightforward. Involved some soya beans and water, and you basically then created soya milk, which was then filtered and allowed to set. Had some samples on hand, but neither of us particularly likes tofu, and we decided to forego that one.
Pigs, remember, we take the husk of the pig. This one is fit for the pigs.
And whilst we came and went to the house, we had the opportunity to have a little bit of a wider look around and see how they lived and the items that were in there. That was absolutely fascinating. I really enjoyed that part. And now we're taking our life in our hands as we cross the road again, aren't we? And then we went for a trek around the block. Now,
I thought I was going to die.
why was that?
On the motorbikes and everybody honking their horns, I just thought, going to die.
I think every single motorbike, one, they sort of whip in and out quite quickly, and 2, it's done with a lot of honking of horns. And
it was cars as well.
There were cars as well, yeah. But we walked round the block to I think it was advertised as a small brewery, you know. But actually they made rice wine.
Yeah.
And again, it was somebody else's house.
Yep.
And then out the back of the house, they had a sort of shed, and they made the rice wine in the shed.
You did taste that, didn't you?
I
don't like that kind of sarky.
It was nice. It was actually a very nice rice wine. I've had some rice wines before that are a bit on the tart type of taste, you know, very, very sharp. That was actually quite a mellow one, but you know, he had his home still, beavering away, and was filtering it, and the smell in that place was quite interesting as well. But you know, it was quite nice. So the rice wine distillery was just round the corner from the tofu factory. To get there, we actually went down a rough, I wouldn't say a road, more like a passageway between the shops, and on the way down there we took in a number of local businesses, including a woodworking shop, as well as some local houses, which were quite interesting. And as we went along, we met a few locals, including this guy, who, interestingly enough, seemed to be owning all of the buildings that we spotted and wanted to get paid for us taking photographs. And then we wandered round to someone else's house, and what did we do there? We had there was a small table with loads of kids' chairs to sit on.
Oh yeah.
And we had a lemon or lime type, a local lemon or lime that we were offered. I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like a great. I think it actually was a cross between a grapefruit and a lemon. I don't know what they actually called it because it was quite big, and they peel it all and then they hang the peel out to dry, and then they put it in hot water. So I don't know why they dry it, but they put it in hot water, and then they use the liquid to wash their hair. Makes your hair nice and shiny, evidently. So and then they had a leaf thing, didn't they?
Yep.
What was another? Or was it the skin from that fruit?
Yeah.
And they chew it in their mouths, and it makes their teeth white. So.
But it was interesting to go into, everyday people who are running small businesses, to go into their houses and to see how they lived and the things they got up to. That was interesting. I found that very interesting.
Like it?
Yeah, just leaving it the lady.
But I don't envy his job. Then we all pile back in the coach, as you do, and we continued our travels.
Do we go for lunch then next?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we went to a
hotel. Didn't we?
Yeah, 18 stories high, and we were eating on the 17th story.
And it was lovely lunch. It was chicken salad with all sorts of things in, didn't it?
Lots of different dishes. So as Joanne says, there was a chicken salad.
And some soup.
There was some pork. There was some potato.
Soup.
Those were
fish.
essentially.
And there was some fish.
Yeah.
And then we had some fruit, didn't we? For afterwards. It was really nice. Very, very nice. Very impressed with that.
It was probably one of the best. I had wondered what the standard of the lunch venue was going to be like.
After we'd been to the other places.
Thought we'd be going in and joining someone else for their
and
lunch.
I was thinking, I don't think I'm going to like this. But it was lovely.
It was lovely. And you got some really good sights over the city as well from
it was
the
so
top
high
of the
up,
hotel. Really nice. I mean, there was a road outside the hotel which was absolutely straight, as far as the eye could see in one direction and as far as the eye could see in the other direction. But really interesting. So we were there for about an hour and a half. Still in Hai Phong city, but this bit is very, very different to where we've come. The hotel that we're about to go into looks extremely posh, loads of marble and loads of very attentive people. Anyway, we go up to the top floor to have a lovely lunch. It was an absolutely delightful lunch, probably one of the better ones that we had, and was somewhat different to what we'd expected. Sort of when we went for the snack at the local house, I wondered if lunch would end up being a bit the same, but this was actually really nice. Outside, it was a very, very straight road for as far as you could see in both directions. Great looking down on the city. It gave you a totally unique perspective that we wouldn't otherwise have got, allowing you to see things in a very different way. I didn't realise there was a river nearby, so it was nice to see that. We made our way to a temple, and the guide was explaining a little bit about what the difference between a temple and a pagoda was. So a temple is where you go to worship a local god, and a pagoda is where you go to learn the art of Buddhism. And you can, if you're a monk, which he explained was quite a hard job in Vietnam, you would actually live and practice and meditate in the pagoda, whereas if you were going to pray, you would go to the temple. So we went to the temple and had a look round, and it was
You have to take your shoes off, and men have to cover their knees, and women have to cover their shoulders. So
and knees.
if you ever go there, knees. If you ever go there, I just had a wrap thing round, scarf, because I've got long trousers on. Anyway, that was nice.
Lots of red and gold, as you will see from the vlog. Some lovely wood carvings on the inside. It's one of the things that this particular temple was known for was the wood carvings, and they were absolutely gorgeous, very intricate. And outside there was sort of like a meditation. Oh, it's not medication, it's meditation area, which was again very nice, very secluded, and quite nice to walk around. The temple we visited was the Hung Communal house, which was down some back streets and fairly built up area, but the bus was able to pull up at the door and let us out. Originally created in the late 17th century to serve the needs of the Kenh village, this now temple has gone through many degrees of restoration and repair. So it was basically restored in about 1805 and rebuilt in places. It was extended then in 1905 and then had further restoration work done in 2006, 2007. Its main feature is the unique carvings that adorn the structure of the building. These carvings that were largely responsible for it being named a national level relic for architecture and art back in 1962, and is a major source of interest to both domestic and foreign tourists. Into the building you had to make sure that both your knees and shoulders were covered. For me, this was one of the highlights of the trips and one of the key reasons that we came, because we wanted to see a local religious building, in this case a temple, and we didn't really spend much time here. We were hardly off the bus before we were being shepherded back on, and we could have done with twice the time. Well, I just don't know quite how the bus driver got down that street.
No.
Let's put it like this. He did hit an awning, and so there was a lot of reversing and manoeuvring to get round this awning, which had stretched out into the road, and he'd clipped it. But we ended up eventually at the pagoda. And we went in.
Well, he stopped, didn't we? We had to get off and then we had to cross the road.
Yeah.
Which is a bit...
Go back to the previous comment about motorcycles. Lots of beeping was involved. Lots of near misses. But it sort of added to the overall effect.
I don't know about that.
And then we went into the pagoda, which was actually quite nice and
again you had to
tranquil.
Be covered knees and take shoes off and
as you do,
shoulders
and the pagoda was nice as well. I quite enjoyed that. It was a lot less ornate than the temple was inside. Outside they had some gold statues. I imagine they were gold leaf.
And the guide was telling me that when someone dies, you can go there, and I think he said 52 days or something. You go there and you light incense for that person for about 52 days. I think it was 52 days, 50 something anyway. And after that, then the kind of mourning was over. It was very interesting.
And again, that also had a pond with lots of, I assume they were granite statues, and also a golden statue as well. So less ornate inside, but probably more ornate outside. And they had a pond with lots of little turtles in as well. I saw, which was nice. I've seen quite a few turtles on my travels in both Hong Kong and here, actually. You know, but yeah, no, it was really good. Our guide explained the difference between a pagoda and a temple. At a temple, you come to pray to one or more gods. A pagoda is there to give instruction in Buddhist practices to would-be monks. As you can see, this pagoda featured both an outside space with a number of statues and areas for meditation, as well as the pagoda itself. And once again, it was unfortunate that we did not really spend a long time here. Again, it was billed as one of the highlights of the trip, but we were no sooner in than we were out.
Oranges.
The Hung Pagoda was built in the Tin Li dynasty, which is year 980 to 10,009, and was rebuilt again in 1972 in the way that you see it now. The gardens were added as a place of meditation in the year 1917, and it still holds up a lot of the values of the Vietnamese architecture, which is why people come to see it. It's a lovely place. Making our way home. Not quite the case, because about 20 minutes from the ship, the guide decided that we were actually going to visit a culture pearl. I would say factory, but it's effectively.
We saw how they put the pearl into the oyster, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And they opened an oyster up and there was a pearl inside. You could get gold ones and cream ones, black ones. It all depends on the lining of the shell, evidently.
And they also showed various parts of the process of how it's cultured to effectively how it ends up being drilled and put on a necklace. And then of course, would you like to go in the shop? You know,
they did have some beautiful jewellery, rings and earrings and necklaces. Really, really lovely. They're not my cup of tea, but they were beautiful.
Which was very fortunate then. It wasn't her cup of tea.
And they were in American dollars, the prices, weren't they? And they ranged from $50 and upwards, you know. And people did buy things, actually. I mean, it was a nice place. If you were going to buy them, it would be quite safe buying them from there. But pearls are not my cup of tea, so I didn't.
And we stayed the longest of all of the places we went to, apart from lunch, and probably actually as long as we spent at lunch, was spent in this
I wonder
oyster.
Why. Because of the shop.
And which wasn't even on the agenda.
No,
and yet,
we didn't know we were going there at all.
And yet the temples, which were the main feature, we were whipped in and out,
yeah.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
You know,
it's all the money. Spend the money.
One in about 10,000 oysters can produce pearl. And they come with a shape that are imperfect like this. You see, tiny, super imperfect. Nowadays, thanks to Mikimoto's technique in 1893, instead of waiting for the sand, we will implant into living oyster. Yeah, I'll show you. That's it. You see, this white one. This white one, that's from oyster shell. The material, that's from oyster shell. Okay? So instead of waiting for the sand, we implant this one, put this one into the reproductive organ, the oyster, put it inside the living oyster. After that, the process is the same as natural pearl to get the real one. Still the real pearl, but a little bit human dimension. Okay? Instead of the sand in the middle of the pearl, we have this one in the middle of the pearl. But this one by living oyster. Yeah, these called culture pearls.
And as you can see, we got back on the coach and we were the first ones there, which gives you an indication of how exciting we actually found the shop.
I enjoyed it.
But it was very nice. It was a
Yeah.
lovely day, but I'm absolutely worn out now.
Yeah,
As I say,
both of us are tired.
it was hot. Well, but yeah, actually, it was hot, but it wasn't unbearably hot.
No,
you
it
know, like
wasn't.
you would think. It was. I don't know what the temperature was, but it was just nice and warm and hot.
And people were very friendly.
Oh, they were lovely. The
you
people
know.
are lovely here. They really are.
As the bus was going along the streets, loads of people were
All
waving
we
and
were waving back.
You know, and
Yeah, it was really nice. It's very friendly here.
you think for me, I grew up on all the Vietnam War films. And this is so different. It's remarkable. In fact, actually, the guide said when he was young,
he was hungry, and
he was hungry.
the
He
main
just
thing
didn't-
on their mind was to just eat
Yeah.
food. And now he said it's like everywhere. You know, kids want iPhones and all that
Yeah.
kind of toys and that. When he just wanted food, you know. So
So
it's
an
interesting.
iPhone 15 was 21 million. I think it's buckets.
no,
It's something like that. The
begins
local
with a B.
currency.
We've forgotten, but you can. They'll take American dollars everywhere. So
Yeah,
um,
but
it sounds a lot, but
you have to be a multi-millionaire.
millionaire to have it. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, well, in the local
In
currency.
the local currency.
You know.
Yeah.
$1 was 2,400.
Yeah.
You know, he did say if you want to become a millionaire quick, just
I forgot what the
exchange.
currency's called. Have you?
Yeah, I
Shall
have.
I go, you keep talking now.
Oh well, I'd almost sort of finished what
Oh,
I
are
was
you?
going to say.
Let me just. What currency?
But yes, he did say if you want to become a millionaire, just exchange $250 and you can then say that you're a millionaire.
The dong.
In
Dong. DONG.
dongs.
Yes, dong.
Dongs.
Dong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, the penny dropped,
Yeah.
the bell
Yeah, they
rang.
value from 10,000 to 500,000.
Yeah,
So,
you know, so. Yeah,
think
no,
we
we
began with a
enjoyed
B.
it. It was a very tiring day. We're going to go down and have something to eat and
Yeah.
then
Go to
retire to the bar. Oh,
I might
well,
go to bed.
something like that. And then tomorrow we've got a shorter excursion.
Yeah, only about 4 hours. It was only supposed to be about 6.5 today, but
Yeah.
it was over 8. But tomorrow's 4 hours something. So,
Yeah. Looking forward to that.
yeah. Vegetable roasted thing with fish on top. Turkey soup. Turkey soup.
Are they floating? Are they swimming around? I've gone for the scallops, which apparently is Japanese style. And for once, we both had the same veal cannelloni.
Hazelnut cake.
Nice.
Oh god, delicious. What's that?
Is that your pained expression?
I don't know what that base is, but it's lovely.
Was the chocolate Neapolitan?
So, are you ready for a great show, everybody? Yes? Nighttime shadows heightens each sensation. Darkness